Vinam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhiraye. So we last left off the story of Karna. We had seen that Karna had incurred 2 curses because of his own behavior, and we know those curses will come back at his time of death. After this education of Karna, so now Karna is fully educated, he has also gained Brahmastra. So now he feels his own even power with Arjuna. The next major event that takes place is the Swayamvara of Draupadi. And at the Swayamvara of Draupadi, and Karna, Duryodhana, Ashwatthama, they all attend. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, they all there. Yeah. And actually, before Arjuna, Karna attempts the special type of target practice that had to be done. The Swayamvara of Draupadi was organized by her father Drupad. And he had made this test of archery so complicated and difficult that only Arjuna would be able to win it. Because it said Draupadi actually in her heart, she actually wanted to marry Arjuna. And father knew that. So Draupadi wanted to marry Arjuna. And her father knew that, so he put this test there. Nearly everyone failed. And the only person that actually managed to achieve it was Karna. Karna achieves it. Take time now, everyone turn your phones off. Karna actually achieves the feat. However, having achieved it, it's still a Swayamvar, which means it's the choice of the bride. And then Draupadi expresses that she doesn't want to marry him. Swayamvar means you still have choice. And so she expresses, I don't want to marry. And she said, he's Sutaputra. That line is there. That I don't want to marry. So, he is rejected. He's a bit chagrined, embarrassed and angered. Yeah? But he throws the bow down and walks off. After that then, Arjuna eventually takes it up and he completes the task. When he completes the task, he then marries him. So now, when Arjuna marries Draupadi, now there is an alliance between Pandavas and Drupad. You must understand these people are Kshatriyas. So every time a person gets married, there's now an alliance between countries. When they come back to Hastinapur, then Duryodhana now is thinking, he's feeling bad about himself because this all happened after House of Lack. Last he saw them as he sent them to the House of Lack to die. And next thing he knows, they've come back and got allied with Drupad. That's what happened. Feeling so frustrated with this situation, Karna actually tells, he tells that we should kill Pandavas. Karna says at this time, we should kill these Pandavas because they're becoming more powerful. Eventually, this is where the kingdom is split. It is now split. And Pandavas are given what's called Kandava Prastha. And it's like a desert wasteland. While sons of Dhritarashtra keep Hastinapur, developed city. Yeah. Pandavas go there and they build it and make it into a magnificent paradise. So magnificent it looks like Amaravati, Swarga. Therefore it's now called Indra Prastha, the place where Indra resides. After this, Yudhishthira is encouraged to do a Rajasuya Yajna. And in the Rajasuya, then his main purpose is then to now connect himself with other kingdoms. Yeah? And through this spread and conquer, the idea is to unite all the nations to a common head. You see, if people don't get united, everyone starts cutting out their own part of the country. We know that, no? India itself, there's enough to understand that if people don't feel united under a common cause, everyone wants to annex and make their own kingdom and become enemies. Yeah? So this Rajasuya is actually to bring everyone together. It's to unite the kingdom. Yeah? And it must, in a monarchy, the main thing is, whoever's in charge must be Dharmatma. He must be the epitome of Dharma. Then everyone looks up to him. Yudhishthira is embodiment of Dharma. So it makes the most sense that Yudhishthira now starts this Rajasuya. And everyone agrees he should do it. He's fit to do it. After doing the Rajasuya Yajna, there's a big worship that is done. And at this worship, he invites everyone. And at that point in time, even Yudhishthira, he gives jobs and seva to everyone there. Everyone gets some task to do. And the task that Duryodhana got was to look after the treasury. So Duryodhana now is seeing all the gifts and money which are coming from the vassals, the other kingdoms. And they're making offerings and tribute to the new emperor or monarch. And it is seeing this that drives Duryodhana insane with jealousy. This is the main reason why the dice game takes place. It is not that he slipped and fell and Draupadi laughed and then he wanted to have a go at her. That incident is there, but it's not a driving force. It's there, but it's not. His main force, reoccurring theme is I burn with jealousy, I burn with jealousy, I burn with jealousy. Seeing the wealth of these people, I cannot be happy. Now don't forget, for Duryodhana, what's happened? His last thing was that he tried to kill them in the House of Black. And what does he get as a reward? He gets half the kingdom. He gets Hastinapur. He exiles them into a desert. And in spite of getting Hastinapur after committing treachery, he still grieves in spite of getting Hastinapur that these people got more. This is the extent of his greed, his jealousy. This is what controls him the whole time. Dhritarashtra also buys into this because part of his heart is also aligned with Duryodhana's cause. So after that, dice game takes place. And hopefully we'll get to that as a separate section. But in this dice game, from Karna's point of view, the one thing Karna does do is when arguments are put forth about whether Draupadi was to be staked, Karna is very clear that she is lost. And he argues very strongly that Draupadi is lost. She has been won. She has been won by Duryodhana and Shakuni. Very strong in his arguments. And he is the one that actually orders her to be disrobed. It is Karna that orders Dushasana now pull her cloth. Of course, the game then, as I explained later on, it gets resolved, but eventually they have to go into exile. When they first get pushed into exile, Karna's immediate thought is, go kill them. Go kill them. Because they're weak now. Go send people out to kill them. And that's what he tells Duryodhana. Even Duryodhana doesn't have that thought. Duryodhana has the thought of killing them. He has the thought of trying to steal their wealth while they're away. But Karna says, vanquish them all. Kill them. Vyasa interjects and says, nothing doing, make peace. Do not even think about this. During their 13-year exile, when Arjuna gains all celestial weapons, that comes to the ears of Duryodhana and Karna. Karna then says, let's go and insult them. And he says, let's go in big pomp, ostentatious grandeur. and let's laugh at how they are living. So actually he leads a party to do that. So him, Duryodhana, they all go out and they lie to the father actually, Dhritarashtra, as to why they're going out. They say we're going to check the various outstations of the kingdom. But actually they go there to insult the Pandavas. Yeah? They actually get captured by another group of people. And the Pandavas rescue them. So ashamed of that, turn tail and leave. Now after this, it is in the 13th year of exile that Surya Devata recognizes that Indra now is going to go to Karna. He's going to approach Karna as a Brahmana and he will ask him for alms in the form of Kavacha and Kundala. Karna has taken a vow. He has got a vow that any Vipra, twice born or Brahmana, that approaches me, after I have taken my bath and done my sandhya, then I will give whatever they want. That was it. Yesterday we saw that. We saw that Surya gave that blessing by saying, Mat prasadat asya Vishno vipranam bhavitatmanaha adeyam nasti vailoke vastu kinchit chakeshava. There will never be nothing that I will give. He will be of this nature. To Vipras, Brahmanas. That vow is there. So Indra knows, if I come as a Brahmana, he will have to give. Now before this takes place, Surya comes and meets Karna. And Surya makes him aware this is going to happen. Karna doesn't even know who this Surya is. And this is where he says, you are actually born of me. I am your father. And prior to this, Karna doesn't even have any inquiry into his father is. Because actually he believes Adhirathan Radha. He doesn't have any problem with it. He's not going on a journey of looking up Google and Seek and all that to find out who is my father and all that. Nothing. So when Surya comes and says, who are you to tell me this advice? He says, I'm Surya. Then he tells him the history of his birth. And he says, now I am telling you as your father, do not give Kavacha Kundala. And Indra will come in the form of Brahmana. Because you know that's your vow. And Karna's response to this is that I will give no matter what. Tanme kirti karam loke tasya kirti bhavishyati. Vrnomi kirti loke hi jivitenatmi bhanuman kirtiman ashnate swargam hina kirtistu nashyati. A very interesting dialogue that takes place between Surya and Karna. And in this short dialogue, Karna will argue again and again and again why he will give. And there's one word which he repeats again and again and again and again, and that is the word kirti. Kirti means fame. Kirti means honor. Kirti means name. Yasha. And for Karna, he quotes one verse, Purushasya pare loke kirtireva parayanam. In this world, the highest thing is kirti, name and fame. He says this. And he said, if I do not follow this vow, I will lose my kirti. And he says, I prefer to give this to Indra, even if Indra becomes infamous. Even if Indra is to lose his kirti, but I will get my kirti. So this dialogue is very interesting because generally when you read Sanskrit literature, it's very rare that they will use the one word again and again and again and again and again and again. If it is used by the author repeatedly in a short passage, it is a sign that there's a very strong emphasis on this point. Very strong emphasis. And in this short dialogue, the word kirti comes almost 6 to 7 times. that for the purpose of kirti, I will give. For the purpose of name and fame. And when he adds the line, that even if on giving this, Indra loses fame, but I retain mine, then let it be. I will not give up my name and fame. So this is a driving force behind Karna. Of course, this incident, of his generosity and his liberality, generally we know, we have come to know him as Danavir, one who is willing to give any dana. But I'm talking now from the original, because we don't know where these different interpretations have come up. People become very sympathetic, obviously, because obviously somebody is charitable, we feel they're a good person. Yeah? But if you were to know of a person who's only given because of name and fame in this day and age, wouldn't we also be a bit suspect and say, why don't you give for the cause? Give for the sake of the cause. You're donating so they put your name up on the board. You give money to the temple and the temple must now etch your name in the board. Even in this day and age, we would also be a little bit skeptical about some person. Give because you love. Give anonymously. People don't even need to know. But it is a very strong thrust here that Karna's purpose of giving was for kids. It's very clear. There's really not much of an argument. So, he refuses Surya's advice and says, let Indra come. Indra then comes as Brahmana and he gives the Kavacha and Kundala. Surya says, if you're going to do this either, then you do one thing. Ask from Indra a very special astra that he only has. And through this astra, missile, you'll be able to kill Arjuna. This missile is strong enough to kill Arjuna. He said, you ask him of that. And he does it. He agrees to it. And he said, Indra comes, he said, you can take Kavacha Kundala. Make sure my skin is not scarred in any way. It's actually born with it. He said, make sure no cosmetic deformity. That he also asked. Then he says, now you should give me Indra Astra. And that he is now holding this. He's holding this thinking the whole time. This is the key to vanquish Arjuna. Now I have my method of vanquishing Arjuna. Yeah? And, just through this episode, it's very important because we are trying to understand him as a character. What is his motivation? And although he does many heroic things, it is now clear that largely his motivation is connected to name, fame, and honor. And this is something that he feels very slighted throughout his life, that he wants that recognition. Don't forget, at this point in time, he's the king of Anga. He is a king. Yeah? But in spite of having that kingdom, in spite of all the skills and prowess that he has, in spite of being the right-hand man to the most powerful person in the form of Duryodhana, in spite of having all this, he is still dissatisfied. He is still dissatisfied. If you look at it from this point of view, it does seem a bit lopsided that you should be there. Compare Yudhishthira's attitude towards life. Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, we've already seen, what is Arjuna's attitude? Sharirasya vinashena dharma eva vishishyate. Most important thing in life is dharma. Yudhishthira also makes a statement, dharma eva hato hanti dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. This Yudhishthira makes this statement. Tasma dharmam natyajami. Therefore, may I never give up dharma. Dharma protects the one who protects it. And the one who abuses it, it will abuse that person. Therefore, may I never give up that dharma. Even at the end, Kunti's last advice to the Pandavas, her advice will be, dharmete dhiyatam. Now I leave you, because she has to go for Vanavas. At the end she goes Vanavas. So now having left you, what is my final instruction? Live according to Dharma. Uphold Dharma. Make this your very foundation. This is consistent in the Pandavas. That their motivation is dharma. The motivation of Duryodhana is lobha, greed. Greed and jealousy is what burns him. And from this, Karna's motivation is kirti. Name and fame. After this incident, then 13 years of exile, they returned back. And when they returned back, then negotiations start. Duryodhana refuses to give and return their kingdom. Some people thought there was some doubt as to whether or not they completed that last year. That doubt is not raised in the original Shastra. There is no doubt as to whether or not they broke the time frame. It's not raised, so it appears no one has an issue with that. They completed the time properly. Yeah? After that, they come for it. But Duryodhana says, nothing doing, we're not giving it back. You will not take it. And he says, I refuse to give even a needle point. Various negotiators are sent. The priest Dhaumya is sent first. He's not even spoken to. They said, no, we don't want to speak to him. You ask Yudhishthira to come here. Ask Pandavas to come here and talk. We don't even want to talk to this person. Dhaumya goes back. Then Krishna says, enough, I will go now. And Krishna goes as negotiator. And when he goes as negotiator, and it's at that time, Duryodhana and Karna and Shakuni scheme that let us imprison him and capture him. And when they tried this capturing of Krishna, then he takes to this magnificent form of great tejas and prabha, and power and splendor. It is said the splendor was so great, tejas was so great, in fact everyone closed their eyes. And only Bhishma, Vidura, Drona, they got to see it. Not everyone got to see it. The rest of them were blinded by the light. These three saw it. Oh, they're saturated in that devotion and glory of Krishna. And then after that, it is now, negotiations have failed. War is now determined the only course of action. We will now have war. So Krishna sent back, go tell Pandavas, it is now war. Okay? Just before Krishna leaves, then Krishna approaches Karna. And he said, Karna now, now think. He talks about his origin, but Karna already knows his origin. And he is actually Kunti Putra. He knows it. And he said, Karna now, why don't you join Pandavas? These are your brothers. Yeah? And this dialogue is quite affectionate with Karna. And I think you can agree with nearly everything Karna has to say in this. That considering his life, what he has to present here makes a lot of sense. He says, Kunti has abandoned me only. So don't ask me to take her as my mother now. And he says, he's very touching. He says, Radha and Adira, they have raised me with so much love. He says, she has breastfed me and they have cleaned my urine and feces and all that as a child. He said all these. They have looked after me with such love and devotion. They have performed all these samskaras and traditions that are supposed to be given to a child. They did it according to their sutta, but they did all the samskaras. And it's very heartfelt. His love for his parents is very strong. And he says, if you ask me now to side with Kunti, you ask me to abandon them. Because Adirath is actually friends with Dhritarashtra. So you are now asking me to leave my parents and side with Kunti. I can't do that because my affection for them is so great. And I'm indebted to them, my gratitude to them. So out of pure affection, he says, I can't do that. They also got me married. And they are, through that marriage, I've also had children. So everything they've done perfectly for me. So he suffers no child abuse also, you know. He has a wonderful upbringing and he's tremendously indebted with love towards his parents. He says, Duryodhana is depending on me. And out of fear, I cannot disappoint him. I'm scared to tell him now that I will leave. Then he says, if I abandon now, this cause. I will get great infamy. Again, loss of kirti. My kirti, people will laugh how coward this man was. He left. Yeah? And then he says something quite beautiful. He said, if Yudhishthira wins this war, and if Karna moves across, then most likely will win. He said, if Yudhishthira wins it, Yudhishthira is so noble, he will give the kingdom to me. Because I will be Jyeshta Putra, firstborn. Karna is firstborn. And he says, knowing Yudhishthira so devoted to Dharma, he will give that kingdom to me. And if he gives the kingdom to me, I will give it back to Duryodhana. He says that. I will give it back to him. So he says, there's no point. He embraces Krishna, does namaskar, and he says, Krishna, I know, with you and Arjuna, I think you're going to win. But my plight is such. He goes. Vidura, finding this out, that Krishna also cannot convince Karna, he then says, ask Kunti to go. And now tries to really pull on the emotional strings. Kunti now tries to go and meet Karna. And this dialogue is a bit more aggressive. He's a bit angry. He doesn't have respect for Kunti. And it's justified. He says, now you ask me. Having abandoned me. And he said, because you abandoned me, you never did the samskars according to Kshatriya. The samskars have been done according to Suta. And again he says, Tad yasha kirti nashanam. Because you never did this, I have lost my yasha and kirti. Again he mentions this point. Because I have not been known as a Kshatriya. Mind you, he's a king at this point in time. When I did not get the Kshatriya samskars. He said, if I do it, I will look like a coward. I cannot give up my debt towards Duryodhana. And then seeing her, he says, Mother, I'll grant you one thing. And that is, at the end of this war, you will have 5 children. I will not kill the other 4 brothers, but Arjuna I will kill. And she said, either Arjuna will survive and you will have your Panch Pandavas, or I will survive and you will still have your 5 sons. Either way, you will have your 5 sons. Okay? So this then concludes his dialogue. After that, Bhishma is appointed general of their army. And Bhishma then says, he said, I don't know why you're appointing me, I don't really want this job. I don't really want this position, This is more responsibility, less pay. So I don't know if I want to take this job on. And he said, I'm telling Duryodhana that other people can do this job, and if you take me on, then these are my conditions. And he gives the conditions. I will kill so many people per day, that's it. I have a quota of people that I will vanquish, and then that will be it. He said, I will fight wholeheartedly. But Bhishma and Karna have always had a bit of an antagonistic relationship. Every time Karna comes in with this big boast that he will destroy Arjuna, beat Arjuna, defeat Arjuna, Bhishma keeps saying, so many times he's beaten you, He keeps reminding him of all the times that actually Pandavas have actually given. And there are quite a few incidents when Arjuna actually has defeated Karna. And he keeps reminding him, saying, you forgot all this or what? You talk too much. And Karna gets really annoyed. So he also insults Pitamaha. So they've always had antagonistic relationship. So Bhishma finally said, that the condition is, if I am on the field, Karna will not be on the field. But he said, you can put Karna first, and I will come later. He said both ways. If you want Karna, you put Karna first, I will come in later. But if you want me first, then Karna has to sit down. Karna also agrees. He said, that's fine. No problem. So Duryodhana says, now I'll make you the general. War goes on first 10 days. And the 10th day, that is when Bhishma drops. And he's out. Then Karna does approach Bhishma at that time and seeks his blessing. There's also very touching that he seeks the blessings of Pitamaha, and Bhishma also being elderly man now and knowing this is his end. He said, I forgive you as well. He said, Jayo Baba, may you also be victorious. But he kind of knows, Arjuna going to win. But I wish you well. I also wish you well. So their relationship is mended towards the end in this way. And then we know what happens. That on the 17th day, so on 11th day, he enters into the war. Dronacharya is in charge. Then on 15th day, Dronacharya falls. And then Karna is put in charge on 16th day. He's coronated as the general. And on 17th day, his downfall comes. While fighting and engaging with Arjuna, this is very interesting, the shloka that says. While engaging with Arjuna, a time of death comes for him. It says, Kalo hiya drishyo nrupa viprakopat nidarshayan karna vadam bruvanaha bhumistu chakram grasati iti avochata karnasya tasmin vadakala agate. When the time for Karna's death came, Kala enters into the chariot and whispers some words to Karna. Kala means time. And whispers, Dhranaha. What does it say? Bhumihi chakram grasati. The earth is now going to swallow this wheel. And it says, Manasaha pranashtam. Brahmastram manasaha pranashtam. Your mind now is going to lose knowledge of Brahmastra. These happen before the final engagement. This Kala. Now remember what I said about Kala? Certain words are used in the Shastra. Kala means time. Daiva means destiny. Dhatra nidishtam, will of the Creator. And they all have the same meaning. Karma, phala, data. Your karma, phala is now coming. They all mean the same thing. So one person understands them as my karma, phala is now coming. But one who cannot understand this, someone said, it is your time now. Sometimes we use that language, his time is up, his time is over. We sometimes use that. So that's also, the word means the same thing. So Kala means the same thing. Daivam, according to fate. What fate? According to the law of karma, which is governed by Deva, God. Daiva means that which pertains to the divine, Deva. Karma, the law of karma is upheld by Ishvara. He upholds it. And therefore when they say fate and destiny is not some random thing. Fate and destiny only is the fructification, manifestation of your past karmas. The manifestation of past karma, because you've already started them, they are to come. And some of these will come in this birth, and some of them will come in another birth. And it says about this karma siddhant, this principle of karma, it's explained in two nice ways. It says, just as a calf, when cows and calves are all herded together, sometimes the calf gets removed from the mother. And it says it doesn't matter how far you take the calf away. The calf somehow finds out which one is the mother and sucks only on the teat of the udder of that cow. The calf always finds the mother. It says in the same way, your karma always finds the person who did it. The phala never goes to anyone else. It always goes towards the doer. Karta. Whoever has done it, that phala will find them. And the other thing it says, just as flowers and fruits blossom in a particular season, so too karma phala will blossom at a particular time. That season, environment, atmosphere must be fertile. Then the phala will come. These things Jiva will not know. Jiva won't know. But this is part of karma siddhant. Now what's happening is Karna's death, and we already saw that. His death is nothing but fructification of these two past karmas. Kala whispering in his ear is almost like a metaphor to say, the phalas are now coming. They're coming. So he knows they're coming. Earth consumes his wheel. He has to get off. And as he's pulling the wheel out, then Arjuna pulls up. Arjuna then hesitates. Because the dharma of the yudh, war, is that you don't kill a person when they're off their chariot. So he hesitates. Krishna says, kill him. He says, kill him now. Then Karna also turns around and says, wow, this is not dharma. And then Krishna says, you talk too much of dharma. Where was dharma when you tried poisoning Bhima? Where was dharma when you burnt them in the house of black? Where was dharma when you ordered Draupadi's clothes to be removed? And where was dharma when the kingdom should have been returned? Where was dharma? Where was that? Now you go for dharma. This is not correct. When you've committed so many crimes, then you should not speak of dharma. When you yourself only transgressed everything. And a whole list of crimes is given by Krishna. That's part of Ishvara's job. He has got the ledger of all the things that we have done. So he brings all these things out. After hearing that, you're like, yeah. It's true. This argument of dharma is gone. And then he studies Arjuna. Arjuna says yes. And at that time, Karna tries to recall. Seeing Arjuna coming, he tries to call Brahmastra. Nothing comes to his mind, and Arjuna vanquishes him. This is the way in which Karna's life takes place as per the original Mahabharata. Okay? Because this is the character that we have the most misconceptions about, and we have very strong sympathies about, and a lot of it because we have so many different stories also there. There's also a famous story that has been picked up by some people that Karna was protected by his dana punyam. The punyam that he has earned from giving all his dana. And that Sri Krishna, Karna could not be killed provided this dana punyam was there. So Krishna comes to him and says, I want the dana punyam. And again he has to give them. So again, bad mouthing Krishna. This event doesn't take place. It doesn't happen. So it's not there. From where these stories come, we don't quite know. But somehow they enter into folklore. So this is the nature of karma. Like I said, when we read Mahabharata and things like that, we should know who the main characters are. And we should know which are the people that are to be glorified and which are the people that are not to be glorified. Because history is of no value if you end up following the wrong person. Itihas has got no value. You study Ramayana, and you say Ravan is a champion. Then you got the wrong message. You missed the whole point. The whole point was missed. That if you felt, he built such a nice city in that Lanka, I also like to build such a nice city. Maybe I'll also follow what he does. You missed the whole point because he ends up killing himself and his entire people. So we should know who to follow. That's it. The other incident, of course, of great contention is the dice game. And Yudhishthira's involvement in the dice game. And Yudhishthira, it is very hard to understand why did he enter into this dice game. And And initially when I took this, I myself also was wondering, why did he enter? And he did it twice, you know. He played that game twice. One time he got done. Why? Second time also, we were getting gone. Huh? And I read one portion. There's a very small dialogue that takes place before the dice came, which is of extreme importance. Huh? This is after the Rajasuya Yajna. Huh? Having completed this, Vyasa comes to Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira has heard that one who's done this Rajasuya, because it's a military campaign which at times involves combat, that there is some papa that will come to him. There is some this demerit that will come to him. So he asked Vyasa, I did this final worship. Is this demerit gone from doing that Rajasuya campaign? He asked him. And this is where Vyasa says something which is quite strong and difficult to deal with. Trayodasha samarajan utpadanam phalam mahada. He said, no. Trayodasha. There will be 13 years of suffering for you. This is before the exile. Vyasa has said, for this Rajasuya that has been done, 13 years, for 13 years the phala will come. That's what he said, the phala will come for 13 years. And he says, it's a difficult thing to digest. Tvamekam karanam krutva kalena bharatarshava sametam parthivam shatram kshayam yasati bharata duryodhana paradena bhimarjuna padena cha. He says that kshatram kshayam yasyati, the destruction of the entire Kshatriyas is going to start taking place. And he says, Tvam ekam karanam. You will be the cause of this. He's telling Yudhishthira. You will be the sole cause of this destruction. But he says, actually it is brought on by Kala. Again the word Kala is used. That means karma phalas of everyone is coming. And he said, not just you, Duryodhana Aparada, the sins of Duryodhana and the might of Bhima and Arjuna, all of them will bring about this end of the Kshatriyas. Ooh, Yudhishthira hearing this. This is not a nice pleasant thing to hear. So when he hears this, all of a sudden, Vyasa leaves and he takes a vow. And his vow is that from now on, Vigraham Durito Rakshan Priyami Eva Samacharan. I will do anything to avoid war taking place. And I don't want to show any differences between my people and the other kingdoms and the other kings. No Veda will be there. No difference whatsoever. And he says, I will speak Priyani, whatever is pleasant and agreeable. I will be very agreeable to all these people, my elders. I will be very agreeable to these people. This is a vow he takes. This is all before the dice came. Yeah? Now, having taken this vow, on the other side, scene shifts to Hastinapur, and now Duryodhana is concocting the dice game with Shakuni. Finally, they push the plan through Dhritarashtra. Although Dhritarashtra says, let me speak to Vidura. Vidura said, no, nothing doing. And this is where again, purely out of greed, he wants the kingdom. It is very driven by greed. But then he says, oh, you know, they also laughed at me, They humiliated me. Oh, one day I was walking, and it was a crystal glass floor, and I thought it was wet. So I left my pants and trousers, and they all said there's nothing there. Everyone laughed. And on another day, I saw another pond, and I thought this is crystal, and I went in. And so at that time, Arjuna, Bhima, Draupadi, and all the ladies, they all sat around laughing at me. Ooh, He was very upset and vexed by that. But actually when he gives this argument, it is very secondary. The bottom line is, I want their wealth and their kingdom. That is his main drive. Yeah? Eventually, he wins the blind king over, Dhritarashtra. And even Gandhari says, do not do this. Gandhari said, this chap, she remembers from the start when he was born, Duryodhana was born, it said abandon him. She remembers that. And she said he should be given up. Gandhari is very noble. She said that Duryodhana should be given up, but the king will not listen even to her. He listens to no one, and he says, fate will play its own. Destiny will have its time now. What can we do? Such is the fate. Let's just see what happens. Oh, Vidura is sent to go get Yudhishthira, and even when Vidura goes, Yudhishthira also knows, it's a bad idea. He knows Shakuni is deceitful. He knows gambling is a bad idea. But he says, if invited, I also cannot decline. As he already said, I must say what is agreeable. He thinks by going there, he is going to avoid the Veda, the divisions, and the fight, and the war. So he thinks, I have to go. But he knows it's a bad idea. And Vidura also knows it's a bad idea. But he goes. And when he goes there, that game starts. And when the game starts, actually Yudhishthira was not aware that they were staking things. He thought it was just a game. And then all of a sudden things are now being staked. But even when they're staked, he agrees to it. Yudhishthira does agree to it. And slowly, one by one, all the things that they have, possess, slowly start going. Yeah? He gives up horses, he gives up city, he gives up land, he gives up earrings, he gives up the garments of himself and the brothers. Then he starts taking the brothers, Nakula, Sahadeva, Arjuna, Bhima, then himself. Then he said, done, finished, we lost everything. Depressed. Yudhishthira is quite depressed and grief-stricken at this time. Then Shakuni says, there is still one thing you haven't given up. Draupadi is there. And he says it like a good gambler says it. Instead of saying you have to give it to me, he says, if you stake her, you get everything back. Isn't it? That's what the casino will say. Just need $1, you get all your money back. We already know you lost $1,000, but $1 back, you get everything back. So give us that $1 as well. Very good marketing. Yeah? And Shakuni says, with Draupadi, you can win everything back. That's how he entices him. Then Yudhishthira, and at that time when he stakes her, Bhishma, Drona, Vidura, all like, what is happening? All aghast. But Dhritarashtra is very fascinated. He's thirsting to see the outcome. The king is thirsting for it. She staked and lost. Once lost. Now Vidura immediately says, this is not possible. He's lost himself first. He cannot stake anything after that. Vidura is very clear about this. This is not possible. Duryodhana says, be quiet. Be quiet. One thing you must understand about Vidura, his advice is consistent and proper. But Vidura does not hold position in the court. Vidura is essentially Dasi Putra. She's a child of Dasi. And although brothers, he doesn't hold an official position in the court. He's the personal minister to Dhritarashtra. He's like personal counsel. But no actual official position. So when he speaks, people don't necessarily take him as the authority. Bhishma is taken as the authority. Dronacharya has position as authority. Kripacharya has position of authority. But the person with the clearest thinking, Vidura, actually doesn't have position of authority. So his standpoint is consistent. This is wrong. But Duryodhana said, be quiet. And he says, now go get her. One first messenger, Pratikaman, is in. And when he is sent, Draupadi and asked, what's going on? Go ask the elders there. Did my husband lose himself first or me first? I want to know. Dharma is the most important thing. The Pandikama didn't know what to do. He keeps going back and forth, and every time he goes back and forth, one question is asked. Then finally, Duryodhana is sick and get this chap out of here. He doesn't know what he's doing. Dushasana, you go. Now he knows once you unleash Dushasana, this chap's not waiting for an answer. No question and answer. I'm taking you by force. Once she sees the door there, she knows she's gone. He takes her by force and pulls her by the hair and drags her. And she's not dressed appropriately in the sense that she's more in a nighty outfit. Because she was in the inner chambers. And he pulls her in front of the royal court, the palace, and she is placed there. And she screams and says, in this way, don't take me. In this way, don't take me. No, she is taken. And that time she is now praying to Krishna as well. Protect me, protect me. When he gets her and brings her there, then they're all, Dushasana is pulling at her and pushing at her and calling her slave, slave girl. Dasi, dasi. She gone from princess to dasi. Karna and Shakuni are laughing at this time. And then this is where the question is posed to Bhishma. Is she one or not? And Bhishma, his response is, Na dharma saukshmyad subhago vivektum shaknoti te prashnam imam yatavata aswami ashaktaha panitum parasvam striyashcha vartur vashatam samiksha. He says, dharma is saukshmyam, very subtle. Bhishma is genuinely confused at this point in time. He actually doesn't know what the answer is. And he is stuck between two things. One, a person who has staked themselves is now a Swami, not a master of their own life. Then such a person, ashaktaha panitum, cannot gamble any more. That means having lost himself, he cannot stake anything else. But the other thing that is there, as a tradition at their time, that if it has happened to the husband, then it also applies to the wife. The wife is connected to the husband. So the husband is lost, then also the wife is lost. Everything goes. That was the tradition at their time. I know in this day and age we all have a heart attack here, okay? This day and age we will be ready up in arms, ready to burn people if we talk about this. And I'm happy to say that I also, this doesn't apply in this day and age. But you have to understand, it was in that time. In that time, women are not educated enough formally. They don't do Gurukula. Their education is in the house. They're educated through fathers, mothers, visiting acharyas. They are educated because Draupadi's got intense knowledge of Dharma. Sita has got intense knowledge of Dharma. They are extremely well educated. But it's not in the form of Gurukula. So they don't eventually become providers. They don't join the workforce and become providers who can earn wealth. But there was a culture at that time. And because of that, then financially, she's completely dependent. And then also in those days, you don't have such a safe and secure environment. Half these people are living in villages between one forest and another forest. A lady living by herself, danger can fall upon her. Therefore, for the sake of protection and for providing sustenance for life, she was always connected to her husband. That was a tradition at that time. And therefore, wherever the husband goes, it is his responsibility to ensure she's protected and she's adequately provided for. It was his responsibility. It was not a tyranny to be exacted upon his wife. It is not that she is now a seva to serve me. No. It was actually now an extension that he must understand himself beyond just me. See, generally if you see in the mindset of a provider, one who earns, whose main aspect is to earn, generally what happens is they generally fail to see beyond themselves. That we generally look and we say, oh, I have earned, but we forget we have to give. And that's why providers always have, when they see the family is spending all the money, where is this money going? You are providing for the family only, but always come back, where is this money going only? It's to look after your children only, that's where it's going. How many shoes do these people need? The child is not growing out of the shoes only, can't use it anymore. But latest iPhone comes out, you watch, you get it. New iPhone, that will be there. I need this for business. Yeah? It's just a funny thing that is there. Yeah? And psyche sometimes is of that nature. They forget about others. And therefore, when it is said that she is your companion, she is your Sahadharmachari, then it is said that in order that you extend your responsibility beyond just looking after yourself. Look, you now have to look after her, provide for her, protect her. And that's why husband and wife was grouped together, clubbed together. So he says now, understanding that tradition and law at that time, if I say she's separate, I will not break it. I will break this law of the land. And one thing you have to understand, these people are the lawmakers of the land. These are not individuals squabbling in a house. As per the decree of Bhishma, such will be the new tradition throughout all of Bharat. Whatever he says at this point in time is going to be the next precedent and legacy for the entire nation. It is not a casual argument that will end in this room with these 5 people. No. This will now be applied to the entire nation. This still goes on today. In a court of law, if you have precedence, you can win your case. All you need is precedence. Precedence means that another case has been won using this argument. Therefore, you can cite that case and win your argument. Precedence is the most important thing in a court of law. And I've spoken to lawyers and they say, yeah, once you have precedence, that's it. I was talking to law students about Australia, because in Australia there's a lot of the Aborigines are not treated very well. Yeah, by the government. And one of the things was trying to let them regain their land. It took so long for the government to even apologize. The government in 2000 refused to even say sorry to the Aboriginal population. They refused. 7 years later, that's been going for years actually. Right? 50 years. 7 years after that, they finally said sorry. New Prime Minister came in and said sorry. It did not change the rights of these people. Nothing happened. It was just, we now acknowledge we have done you wrong. The next thing is, they want to see how they can get land. And I was speaking to a law student and she said the government will never rule in favor of giving the land. Because they said once they start this precedent, they have no idea where it will go. Because any tribe will be able to claim this was actually ancestral land. Your CBD in Melbourne could be gone. No, it can happen. No, it can happen. Once you set precedent and a person finds that I have a link, that this is my ancestral land, and if you say, if you claim this and name this as ancestral land, it becomes yours, and the precedent is established, it becomes your own house, your residency could be taken. Therefore, precedence becomes extremely important. You must understand the pressure that Bhishma is under. It is not just giving a rule. He's setting a precedence now for the whole thing. So he says no. He said, I can't answer the question. That's why he remains silent. He doesn't give an answer. When pressed by her, he does not give an answer. He said, this is too subtle for me. I am genuinely confused. I cannot figure this out. In spite of that, others keep arguing. Bhishma really is the highest authority in that court because he's the elder. And also the son of Shantanu. And he's the one that's built the whole Hastinapur, you know. Because of his might and power, Hastinapur is what it is. He's not an old man that's decrepit. He's the most powerful figure. Yeah? So winning him over is of great importance. He is the ultimate authority sitting in this court. He remains mum. He remains quiet. Nothing he says. After that, everyone argues. All of a sudden, they start harassing poor Draupadi, and at this point in time, Bhima says, give me a hot coal, I will burn the hands off Yudhishthira. How can he do that? This girl does not deserve such treatment. Arjuna comes in and says, brother, don't behave this way. Follow dharma. He placates Bhima and comes in. It's Arjuna who does that. Yudhishthira now is like a crestfallen character who is quite grief-stricken. After that, all of a sudden, Vikarna, and Vikarna is one of the sons of Dhritarashtra, the only noble son that's there, but a young one of the youngest. And he argues and said, this is not proper. She's not been one. Any king under the influence of drinking, gambling, womanizing, is considered an addict. And when he's an addict, his judgment is not considered authority. And Yudhishthira is under this addiction of gambling. He's lost his compass. Therefore, this is not one. He also says he lost himself first. Therefore, this is invalid. And he says, Shakuni also proposed Draupadi. And actually, the one betting against you is not supposed to propose your stake. You are the one who's supposed to propose what there is to be staked. He puts this forth. Immediately Karna interjects. And Karna says, be quiet. In the hall of great people, you're such a small person, stop talking. Young people shouldn't talk. With such insolence. And he says, Draupadi is included in Yudhishthira's possessions. Therefore, she is also to be won. And although proposed by Shakuni, she was approved by Yudhishthira. He approved her. And he says, Vikarna, you are but a boy, be quiet. At this point in time, he tells Dushasana, now claim the clothes of these people. Because one of the bets was, their garments were lost, of the brothers as well. Yeah? He says, now take the clothes of these Pandavas and also take hers. And as they give, then she pulls, she then prays to Krishna, and Krishna immediately manifests in this garment. Krishna doesn't enter into the arena. He's not there at this whole thing. Krishna's not here at the dice game. But through him, the endless vastra is given. While this is going on, Dushasana is pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. It is then that Bhima takes the vow that I will drink the blood of Dushasana. He will be killed by me. Dushasana falls in a heap and collapses. And everyone is actually quite aghast by what took place. This disrobing, no one approved of. No one approved of. It just happened so fast that no one could even stop it. And while it was happening, they were watching a miracle take place. So everyone became quite stupefied. But no one supports the disrobing at all. And in fact, after all that takes place, Draupadi still, she's in order to take Draupadi away. She still has the humility to come back and say, wait, I never did namaskar to my elders. Let me do namaskar. And she said, whatever you rule, I will follow that. Again she asked Bhishma. And Bhishma again says, I have no answer. I cannot rule on this. And he says all these arguments are correct. That actually even Yudhishthira does not, he says Yudhishthira is the highest authority on dharma. And Yudhishthira is claiming that he is one. Yudhishthira does not feel that he has been played deceitfully by Shakuni. Yudhishthira has agreed to stake in Draupadi. He said, you ask Yudhishthira, actually he is the authority. They asked Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira remains numb. Nothing can come out of him at that time. He's so in such great remorse and dejection. After that, when Yudhishthira does anything, Duryodhana says, if Bhima and Arjuna claim that Yudhishthira is not their leader, I will give everything back. But Bhima and Arjuna also can't say that. They say he is. Because traditional elder brother was Pati. The word Pati is there. And even Arjuna says, he said, at the time when I was staked, he was my Pati. But now, I have no idea. Even he doesn't know how to rule on this. Finally, just the whole disgust of the situation and of Draupadi's mistreatment, Dhritarashtra interjects and says, enough. This has gone too far. And he says, we will return everything. Everything will return, and this whole thing will be null and void. Actually, he goes to Draupadi and he says, Draupadi, you now ask me. He said, you have been treated badly. Ask me of any boon. And Draupadi actually asks, she says, let Yudhishthira be free. That's what she asks. And Dhritarashtra, he wants her to ask for herself. So he says, no, ask another one. For yourself. She said, let the four brothers, their chariots, bows, everything be freed. He said, ask more. She says, no more. This much, I'll be happy. Seeing her greatness, he says, that's it. This whole thing is void. Null and void. He returns everything. The whole game is made null and void. After that, Duryodhana is seething that he had the Pandavas where he wants them. And now, the old blind king has robbed him of his victory. He again goes and emotionally placates, now with more force, the father. Again, invite them back, invite them back, invite them back. Oh, against his better will and judgment. Finally, everyone is saying, no, 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 no. But Dhritarashtra just cannot resist and stand up and endure this harassment from Duryodhana. He said, okay, invite them again. He said, this time the stakes will be different. We won't take everything of theirs. We will take 12 years of exile and 1 year incognito. The old blind king, confused, tortured by the pain of what's just happened. Okay, fate will take its own course. And again they are asked back. And again Yudhishthira agrees. Because again, if invited by his elder, Priyani, Priyavachaha he has to give. I cannot, because he's still thinking that I need to avoid this destruction. So he's still in the mindset of placating the king. So he then agrees to it, and one game finished. Everything is lost, and that's how the actual exile starts. So now you understand actually what happens in this dice game. It's very complex, it's very convoluted. One thing is said. When Bhishma remains silent at that time, Vidura the whole time is saying, Draupadi has not been won. She has not been won. His stance is firm. But having no position, he's often just shouted upon by Duryodhana, be quiet. Then he says one mantra that he says, Ardham harati vaishreshtaha pado bhavati kartrushu padaschaiva sabhasatsu yena nindanti ninditam. In a sabha, assembly, where a great atrocity has taken place, he says, Ardham, half. Half of that papa will go to the leader of that assembly, Shreshta. Pada, 1/4, will go to Kartrushu, the one who committed the atrocity. And then the other 1/4 will go to all the other people sitting in that assembly. He says this. And it's because of this that actually we find Bhishma has to endure these bed of arrows later on. So it's not that Bhishma also is freed of this. He is caught in this as well, but he is honestly caught in an absolute dharma sankat which he can't even figure out. Absolute confusion of dharma, but still he has to reap the phala. The phala still goes to him. So half of that sin that took place in that will end up going to Bhishma. So Bhishma is not freed of it. No one is freed of it. All of it comes to each and every one of them. Yeah? Now, what do we learn from all this? Don't gamble, that's the first thing. Best not to gamble. But one thing, Yudhishthira, we always have if you Dharmatma, why did he do this? But now you can see what was happening. It was actually the prediction that was made prior to the dice game. That's where Yudhishthira actually needed to learn how to deal with this prediction. First of all, this prediction is coming from Vyasa. And Vyasa, he is recognized as Mahamuni. He is recognized as Bhagavan. He is a great person. If he says it, that is it. Vyasa has said, 13 years this fruit is going to come. And it may lead to the destruction of all the Kshatriyas. How does Yudhishthira take this prediction? He tries to fight it. He tries to prevent it. He tries to avoid it. And this is something we can learn from. That in life, there are certain things which are inevitable. They are going to happen. He's already been told this is going to happen. And he takes a vow in order to prevent the inevitable. You can't prevent the inevitable. That's why it's called inevitable. It is going to happen. Now, when something is inevitable, it is going to take place. What should our thinking be? Rather than thinking how to avoid, how to escape, it should be how to face that thing. How do I prepare myself for that which must come in my life? Many times we may not know what exactly is going to be dhruvam, inevitable. But in Gita he has said, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. One thing is inevitable in life. Anyone that is jataha, born, then mrityu is inevitable. Death is inevitable. This no one can argue. Even our own avatars don't even live forever. They are also, Krishna winds up his avatar. Yeah? If death is the one thing that I know in my life, this is inevitable. Then all of a sudden, I should start preparing for that. Prepare for that which is inevitable. One thing we know is death. The other thing that we know, according to our dharma, we have to go through different stages in life. There is the student, there is the married, there is retired, and there is the renunciant stage. These things are also inevitable. It's inevitable that you will have to change in life. Change will come. Gurudev has said, change is the only changeless law. Even this will pass. Everything will go. Yeah? Scientifically we know this, intellectually we know this. It is not a new concept. That change is inevitable. Yet what are we doing? Do we have the courage to face change, or are we still hiding behind thinking of preventing change, avoiding change, escaping change? We know we have to get older and the hair has to become gray. But we like to think we can escape. till 1 week. But the other time, too much coming. And you pull the whole thing out, one patch will be there. So then you start thinking, now this plucking is not working. Now get involved in painting. Start learning painting. That's good, I need to know this to paint the house as well, right? So I might as well start painting this. Paint the person in the house, then paint the house. So, we do these things to avoid what? To avoid the concept of aging. Isn't it? But aging is what? Form of change. It's inevitable. Rather than trying to avoid that change, we should learn how to embrace that change. We should try to recognize what are the responsibilities and expectations that will come upon me as I enter into this new stage in life, new phase in life. These are the things that we should focus on. What is it that I need to learn? How do I prepare myself for this? If we don't ask these questions, these changes are coming anyway. You can't stop them. Karma cannot be deviated from. Time will always come. All that happens is I am continuously caught off guard. I am shocked. I am surprised. I am caught, bewildered and frustrated. In such a situation, my mind overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation in front of me. It crushes my intellectual acumen, vivek shakti, and all of a sudden I lose all clarity. My clarity is gone because my mind is overwhelmed by this immediate change in front of me. When we meet life in this way, we meet life as a completely disintegrated personality. Disintegrated means one that is weak. And that's where we keep on. Whenever we feel weak, what mentality do we adopt? Victim's mentality. Whenever we feel weak, we go for victim's mentality. And the number one thing in victim mentality is, why me? Why is this happening to me? Yeah? We need to learn to start developing strength. Our strength is going to come from the fact that actually things that are inevitable must be faced. We have to face them. Yeah? If I have to face something, then the best thing is start learning and preparing. Start preparing for that thing. Find out what is that new role, what is that new position, what is that new change that is coming upon you. And now, what can I do now to prepare myself for that change? It happens in all forms. Even if you say, I'm not going to change my lifestyle, you can't keep your body sustained and maintained at its previous stage. At 20 to 30, our body is so robust, can do anything. We can jump around, bounce around off walls, we can sleep at any time, and the wonderful thing is, we can drink milk. You know why? Because we're not yet lactose intolerant. That is waiting for 45. So you can drink milk at night, eat pizza at night, have Coke at night, have a wonderful free time. Yeah? Eat whatever you want, whenever you want. The 20-year-old body is like a super furnace that can digest anything. It can take any physical abuse that you put on it. You can play all the sports you want and don't do any stretches. Don't do any warm down. And just jump on the court, jump, bounce, 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 bounce. And it's such a wonderful thing, isn't it? But all of a sudden hit 30. And if you just jump onto the court, when you jump onto the twisting. then have to start doing things like this. You must do warm-up. Warm-up should be done. Yeah? Now you do warm-up, but still don't do warm-down. So when you don't do warm-down, you're so excited, I won the match. Come back home, again go back to eating some chips, Coke. All of a sudden, all the energy that you've expended has come back 2 times as much. Because you actually ate more than what you burnt off. Yeah? So in spite of your exercise regime, you're actually putting on more weight. Because it's your after exercise routine that's a problem. Isn't it people now going for 5 kilometers walks? Where? To a cafe. And then at the cafe they say, listen, have a coffee now, have a scone, milkshake, this, that. They put more calories on it than cafe than going for the walk. Don't do the walk. That walk is dangerous. As we keep on going on, in this way with our lifestyle, we're actually not facing change. We're waiting for pain to come. And then we learn to adapt to that pain. This means every time a pain comes, we just learn to bear that pain. And adaptation is not really adaptation. We just start avoiding those scenarios. I don't do sport anymore because knee is gone. Knee is gone. Have you thought about going to a gym and a physio? Oh no, I'm not going to physio. Forget that. It's better than just say knee is gone and give up the sport altogether. So we give up exercise rather than rehab. Get back into the game. This is how we start avoiding things. Yeah? Pain brought it on, and my method of dealing is avoidance. This is not the method of the strong. Yeah? It starts physical, and then when does it become after that? You can avoid exercise, avoid team sports, avoid games. Then what happens? It starts becoming emotional, isn't it? All of a sudden, all the wonderful friends that you had at 30 years old, you now push on to 40 and 45. And as you get to 40 and 45, what happens? Now all of a sudden, friendships, people start fighting with each other. Why this person's child gets so much attention on the stage? My child did not get to sit on the stage. Isn't it? How come in concert they got front seat, my child is sitting all the way in the back? No one can even I can't see my child. I don't even know he's there actually. And even if you put them all over the front seat, there's only 3 microphones but 10 contestants. Then the question is, how come this one got a microphone? And this is where our mini Mahabharat starts. Little feuds start there. And then the big ones are the weddings. The weddings are the real Mahabharata. And then you get to find out, how come I didn't get invitation? Or you get invitation, but your invitation is for wedding only, 1 card. Person next to you, reception, Sangeet, and 3 cards? I only want 1 card. But we invited them to our daughter's marriage, they don't invite others. You're all laughing because you know. The fact you're all laughing has confirmed my suspicion. See, I don't get invited to anything, so it's okay. This is where it starts. These people didn't invite us to their daughter's wedding, we don't need to invite them to our daughter's wedding. I have heard stories that they got invited, but the table was next to the toilet. That's it. How dare you put our table at the back next to everyone walking in and out and that stench is there? So even at the wedding, who gets front seat, back seat, middle seat? Oh, yo! See, we haven't prepared ourselves that life is going to lead in change. There's going to be a change in the relationship dynamics. People that sat in your house every day while your children were 5 years old and all played together, now their children are teenagers. They have to drive them everywhere for tuition and kumon and everything. So they can't sit around in your house and have fun and games. So they're always busy, and then you start asking, where's that son? We never get to see your son anymore. He doesn't come anymore. Isn't it? And we feel like, oh, we miss him. Yeah? Then after some time, your son doesn't even come anymore. Huh? You know, Mom, do I have to keep coming for these things? Huh? No, everyone just talks to me and then everyone they just, and if you're a daughter, sometimes it's difficult because they'll ask you, how old do you finish education? Yeah. That poor girl is there, finish education. Every auntie in that room gets very excited. And all the astanas come out. Brahma Nagabasha, everything comes out. Why aren't you doing anything? Mother also gets shot down in the battlefield. Have you started looking? No. Huh? Then that daughter says, I'm not coming for these functions anymore. Every time I come for a function, I'm the one that gets shot down. Huh? So she also avoids it. Huh? But you see, that's also a natural part of life. This is the next issue to discuss. Huh? For her, it's the next issue, moving to the next stage of life. And for that family, the parents, they also have to start getting prepared for the next stage in life, which is the empty nest. All of a sudden, your children become adults. Your relationship dynamics have to change. Our Shastra says, Panchavarshani lalaye, Dashavarshani lalaye. But once they hit Shorasha Varshani Mitravat Achare, 0 to 5, you lavish attention on your children. Whatever they do, just love them and hug them. Next 10 years, they start primary school education. Now you teach them right and wrong. There are consequences to your actions. Don't go take the other child's lunch and eat it. Huh? And if you do that, you get whacked in the face and you deserve that only. So deal with it. Huh? I can teach him, because in his house when he's 3 years old, he puts his hands in everyone's food. Anna's food, Akka's food, and he's sticking it everywhere. Your food also, he'll do that. And he gets away at 3, but at 5 you can't allow that. And it says dates, they have given 16. I think 16 is a bit young in this Kali Yuga. Huh? Let us say the 18 and 18. Huh? Your actual relationship should now become dynamics of friend. Huh? And in friend, there should be respect actually. Respect for the opinion of the other. Your method of interaction has to move away from instruction to advice. Anushasana, instruction. Hitopadesha. Give upadesh. Our shastras on moksha are called upadesh. They're not called anushasana. We're to move away from command into advice. We have to start recognizing these people also need to learn how to think. If we do not allow others to think, you will raise a slave. One who has not no capacity to think or decipher things for themselves will always have to be under the command and lead of somebody else. If I want to raise a leader, a person who can make choices, can choose their own destiny and future, I have to encourage that person to think and decide for themselves. If I've lived a life telling them what to do, and then you withdraw that one day, they're left in a complete abyss of helplessness, having never learned the skill of thinking, deducing, taking responsibility. And now you throw them into the world of marriage and say, figure it out. They will struggle only. They have not been taught how to handle life. At all times, there is change coming. It can be changed in the form of physical, it will be changed in the form of mental, emotional. And then eventually change at the level of intellectual, thinking and vision. What is the purpose of my life? We know at 20 we are driven by so many goals of the house in the suburbs, the spouse, the 2 kids, nice comfortable job. And most of that is achieved by 40. And after that the question then becomes, what more? We have to now start thinking, what is our vision ahead? These situations are very difficult to handle if you are not prepared. And therefore we end up making choices based on things that give me the least amount of pain in life. Not necessarily choices that will give me the best future in life. This path I'm scared of. This path is difficult. This path requires too much energy and attention. Therefore, I just take the path of least resistance. We follow that path, and then when we look back, it's not necessarily the life that we wished we had lived. And it's because we weren't prepared, we weren't strong enough to face change. And whenever you face change, fear will be there. But our purpose is to develop strength in spite of fear. Strength in spite of fear is called courage. This is what we are trying to develop. Don't look for situations where there's no fear. Don't look for situations that are free of stress and anxiety. Because those situations will keep on popping up here and there. We have to learn to muster strength to face such situations. Those situations that do intimidate me, scare me, create anxiety. How do I develop the strength to face them and intelligently choose my course of action? And it is this state of courage, this is the state, or this is the skill, aptitude, and nature of a person who has lived and followed the life of Dharma. When we have followed Dharma, then that mind and intellect becomes integrated, and courage is one of the things you come out with. You won't have all the answers, but you won't be scared of facing the inevitable. And even that which is the best for you, it will look like climbing an Everest, but you will find strength and inspiration to start that journey one step at a time. This is the result of living a life of Dharma. This Dharma is the theme of this Mahabharata. And that's why I said it is Arjuna who does this. Arjuna just never deviates from what needs to be done. Cheerfully, confidently, courageously faces tragedies that others did not have to face. Day one I said, he's the one with the most tragedies in life. But he faces them all. In this way, from this text, I hope to the life of such personalities, we can learn to get inspired to face our life and battles of life. Also learn from those who have taken slightly different methods of thinking and recognize where they have ended. Never feel a victim of life because everything is only a manifestation of my past karmas. At the end of the day, even when fear overwhelms you, then invoke Krishna. Invoke the Lord. Even when you know your dharma, but you feel weak and scared to do it, then just invoke Krishna. And as we invoke Krishna, that strength comes. That inner miracle takes place. And all of a sudden, there is an integration, there is a joy, there is a strength, there is a courage which comes, which you don't know from where. And with that courage, now go face this battle. Krishna can be invoked anywhere and everywhere. Therefore, Krishna is always with you. We are on a journey, and this body is our chariot. But Krishna can still be our Sarathi. Each one of us is a Partha, and he is our Partha Sarathi. He is never far away. In this way, Yato dharmaha tata Krishna, yata Krishna tata Jaya. This way. This is just what I've been able to share. Thank you for your attention. We have certainly gone over time today. And I thought, it would be nice to include some of these things. I appreciate your attention and enthusiasm in listening to this. And continue on. Study Vedanta, Dharma, and living that Dharma. Purnamada, Purnamada, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.